Hi, my name is Paige. This week I was participating in the reading rush, but today when I went onto Twitter, I was noticing people were very upset. And so I read into why everyone was upset and I understood where they were coming from. So I had initially planned to make this a reading rush vlog, but I'm going to do my best to edit out talking about it in this, and I hope that it makes any sense. So these will be the 7 books that I read this week, which is honestly an accomplishment in itself that I was able to read 7 books in a week. So now that I know that I can do it, I need to force myself to do it a little bit more, maybe not 7 in a week, but a couple in a week. So these are going to be my reactions to some of the books that I was reading, and I hope this vlog style looks a little better. I was trying to do a little better than the past few ones that I've been doing and change up my setting that I was in a little bit. So I hope you enjoy. I will see you at the end. I'm going to try and read New Kid in my bed, maybe throughout the day. I don't really know. I want to try and get 2 books done today. I want to try and get this done and then start King and the Dragonflies, just so I can have 2 books down and worry about some of my bigger ones on the weekend probably. So I'm gonna get started. I will check in, I guess. I just finished it and it was so cute. I really enjoyed this. It was what I hoped for. I like when kids are in school and they aren't kids, because so many times people get schools wrong. I will say that the teachers in this, though, I was not a fan of, and it breaks my heart that some kids have to have teachers like that. As a teacher myself, it just frustrates me that there are some humans in the world who go into teaching and are not open-minded and are not accepting and don't listen when their kids call them out on things that they have done that hurt them. But this was so cute. I loved how many friends that he made and just watching him, and the artwork is really cool. I really liked the chapters. Every chapter was like after a musical or a movie, and it was just so funny. I like this one a lot. I recommend this very much, even if you're not a teacher or a student. It just was really cute. So now I'm on to my next book, hopefully soon. I finished King and the Dragonflies about an hour ago, and I needed to set it down and think about it and just like breathe, because that took a lot of emotion out of me. I feel like there are so many other people who can explain this book so much better, but it's just really sad. It's really sweet. It's really beautiful. I think I'm gonna find some reviews of people who explain this book so much better, because I feel like I don't have the words. I love this so much. It reminded me a lot of my family. Not that his family is similar to mine, but in that King believes that his brother, after he died, turned into a dragonfly, and my family has always believed that my great-grandparents turned into ducks afterwards, and just having that some sort of similarity in there. Every time he would talk about it and every time he'd see this certain dragonfly, it brought back a lot of memories with my family and stuff that got to me. But it was so good. 5 stars, absolutely. I could just like cry even more just thinking about it. I love this a lot. So last night I stayed up until midnight or so because I was reading Call Me By Your Name. I was listening along to the audiobook and reading with it, and I don't think it's what I expected it to be. It wasn't bad. I ended up liking it towards the end, but at first it was pretty odd. I didn't expect Elio to be so creepy and super obsessive, and eventually like I caught on and I felt like, yeah, we've all been there. We've all had somebody that we've been like super creepy obsessed with to that degree, in our mind at least, not very outwardly, just like him. But I ended up liking it. There were some scenes that I could have done without, like the beach scene. Honestly, it didn't bother me, but towards the end in the hotel room bathroom, yeah, no, could have done without that. Just like referencing it, I didn't care for that part. So if you know what I'm talking about, I wasn't a fan of that. There are some things you don't need to share. But overall, I ended up liking it. I cried towards the end, just a little bit, teared up because it was a little sad, but it was good. I don't think I would ever read it again. It's not my favorite book in the world. I would give this like 3.75 stars. I rounded it up on Goodreads to a 4, but I don't think this one's gonna leave a lasting impression on me. It was good, just not my favorite. I am 70 pages into I'll Give You the Sun, and I am not liking this at all. I don't usually DNF books, but I'm struggling through this, and I'm listening to the audiobook with it, and I have it on 3 times speed because I don't care what's happening. I am not connecting to these characters whatsoever. I've heard people say that this is a really good book and it's one of their favorites, so I'm hoping that it picks up, but I don't connect. I realized why I don't love this book so much. I figured it out about halfway through, but it's because I am old now. I am closer to my 30s than I am my teenage years. So reading a book that is in a 14-year-old's perspective and a 16-year-old's perspective, not as fun as it would have been if I was in high school or maybe college, but I had moments where I was super uncomfy. It follows twins, Jude and Noah. When it's in Noah's perspective, it's in the past when they were 13, 14 years old. So it's what's happening then at 13, 14. And when it's in Jude's perspective, it's when they are 16 and she's kind of catching you up on what's been going on between those few years when they've had this complete falling out. In Jude's perspective, she kind of reflects back on what happened at 14 years old. And there's a few times where, well, there's one time that she mentions that she was in a sexual situation. And I was uncomfy. I know it happens, 14-year-olds do that, but I just don't want to read about stuff like that. They weren't explicit scenes, but they were obvious enough to know what was going on. And also with Jude, she meets a boy and she's 16 and he's 19, but he thinks that she's older, and nothing goes on with them past kissing, I believe, unless I read a few things wrong. But it's never okay to be with somebody who's underage, and when he finds out that she's underage, he does try and like, oh, let's not be together, I'm gonna be strong and be the better person and do the right thing. And then she talks him out of that. And no, I mean, as like a 16-year-old girl who thought that I was so mature, maybe I would have been fine with it then, but now that I am 26, 16-year-olds look like babies. No, 18 and over only. It wasn't a terrible story. It felt like it was written for teenagers. So I'm 1 chapter into the hating game, and so far so good. But I do want to say that if I don't like this, it's not because it's a bad story. I am just not a fan of enemies to lovers tropes. I've never felt that they were very believable, and the reasons that people end up being enemies, like, sometimes they're legitimate reasons, and I feel like going from that to lovers is just kind of or it's not a solid enough reason why they dislike each other in the first place sometimes, and I end up just not liking it very much. I am very much a fan of childhood friends to lovers or friends to lovers. That is where I'm at. I like the safe relationships where people have known each other for a really long time. So I've just never been a fan of enemies to lovers, so I'm still gonna give it a go and we will see. Now I'm ready to read. I haven't made it very far. I'm just 75 pages in, but I have an issue. Josh keeps touching her without her permission at all. The scene in the elevator, it's like right at the beginning, so I hope this isn't spoilers. Everyone's probably already read this. But he like picks her up and kisses her. And then he's at the bar that she's at and he just like grabs her face. And I feel like this is not the first time that he's just like touching her without her saying, you can touch me. And I am having an issue with it. I just feel very icky about it. Yeah, I'm not having a fun time with that aspect of it. It's just awkward to me. And Lucy is just not a character that I personally can relate to. I am such an introvert all the time, so I'm just having a hard time relating to the things that she does, and just like her confidence, and then the way that she talks to him too. I don't know, but the touching, I'm having an issue. The dark brown headboard, plushly upholstered in leather, saves the room from femininity. Why does it matter if his room's feminine? So I actually finished The Hating Game yesterday, and I didn't want to talk about it because I was angry. I did not end up liking this book, and I filmed a full-on rant review about why I did not like this book, so look out for that. So I'm not going to go into it in here. You probably saw a couple of my reactions to the book, but not for me. Not one for me. Yesterday I went over to my friend's house to have a small little brunch with 4 of my friends, and I was gone for most of the day just because teachers, we like to talk about things, and especially with opening back up or going back to school, how we're online teaching and everything, and 2 of those teachers are not going to be at my school next year, so I had to get all my time in with them. But I got home pretty late and realized that I had not edited my video that I wanted to go up Friday, so I had to get up my books that made me angry, and that went up. And then today was my grandma's birthday, and so we were going through all of her books. So she and her mom used to read a lot of those mass market romance books. So we went through all of the books that she had stashed in a bunch of different random places, and we put them on bookcases because she had never owned like a large enough bookcase to hold all of her books. So we went through all of that. I should have filmed it, but I did not. So I'll insert pictures right now just to show what it looks like. And I also got her a mystery box from eBay that Jessica from Peace Loves Books got in one of her videos. So I got that from my grandma. We opened it. It was really funny to see how excited she was about some of those authors. But it was really cute, and I shared it on Instagram stories and fangirled a little bit when Jessica liked the post and shared it in hers. So that was a good moment. My grandma was so funny. She was like, oh my gosh, somebody famous liked this. So it was really fun. It was a fun time. But I now need to read. I still have 2 books left, so I will for sure start Nevermore tonight. It should not take too long to finish it. I believe I can get about halfway tonight if I really buckle down and finish it by tomorrow morning. So this will probably be the last one that I finish because I don't see myself finishing Little Women in a day, and Scribd decided that I can't have any more audiobooks for a while, so I can't listen on 3 times speed. So for Little Women, I mean. Oh my gosh, I just remembered that my little cousin asked me if there were any Descendants books, and I went and I bought 3 Descendants books because I saw somebody mention that they had them, and so I can watch Descendants and then read the first one of that, and it's going to be really easy. I don't have to read Little Women anymore. Yes. Hello. So I am roughly halfway through Nevermore, and I am liking it. I am not super invested in it. I keep not wanting to pick it up, but when I am reading it, it's cute, and I really like the world that it's building. I'm just not really connected to the characters. There's just some things I feel like it's lacking, but it's not a hard read at all. I'm flying through it when I am reading it, but I just don't really want to pick it up, and I need to finish it by the end of the night. So right now it is dinner time. I'm about to eat some Chipotle and I'm going to watch the first Descendants movie so that I can read the Descendants book. That was so Disney. It's kind of cute though. It's 1:40 in the morning and I did it. I finished it and I liked it. I didn't love it. I was frustrated a lot of the time because I had no idea what was going on. And I think that's because I wasn't super invested at the beginning and I was just kind of reading it pretty quickly, not super absorbing anything. And there were just some things I felt like it was lacking. I might have already mentioned this. I feel like those words have already come out of my mouth, but I'm tired and I don't remember. But I wish there were a little bit more relationships in this and that characters were not just brought along when they served a purpose, that Morgan had more time to build relationships with people. But other than that, I liked it. I was getting so frustrated that I did not know what was going on, and I was getting real worried towards the end that we would not have any answers at all and that it would be over the next few books that you would find the answers. So I'm glad some things were wrapped up, and I want to read the next one right now, but I still have one more challenge to finish and then I can read whatever I want the last couple days of July. All right, check in tomorrow. All right, I tried the plop that people have been trying on TikTok and we are going to see how that looks while I tell you about this that I am reading right now. So I watched Descendants last night and then I looked up this book afterwards to see if it's the same story or something else. Okay, not bad. And it's actually a prequel to the first Descendants movie. So that's not what I expected. I expected it to be the same story so that I could read it a lot faster, but I'm liking it. It's kind of cute. I will say that I don't think that this is written easily for kids. I teach 7 and 8-year-olds in a lower income area, and my students are lower in their academics, but I do think even just for the age group that this is targeted towards, it's pretty difficult. I think that this would be really good for parents to read to their kids if their kids are really interested in these stories, if this is too difficult for them, because it's pretty funny, and I think that that would be fun to like read aloud with them. And if your kid is pretty high academically, like this, it's not terribly difficult, but I do think it's more challenging than for a 9-year-old. This is also really good for Disney adults. I am one of those. I love reading them, and it has pretty funny moments in it that talk about some of the characters and things that happen in the movies that you're kind of like, what? As a grown-up, things don't make sense, but it starts to answer some of those questions. So I'm having a fun time. I've read 100 pages and that took me like 2 hours. So I need to get cracking because there's 300 pages in this. So hopefully I will finish it by the end of the day. I will force myself to, but I haven't made it much further because this book is so long. It is so long. It is too long. I am on page 200 and it's just getting to what the back of the book says it will be about. This book had no right to be this long. Oh my gosh, that took me so long. 30 minutes to spare though. I did it. 7 books in 7 days. Yeah. Okay, quick recap. These are all the books that I was able to read. I started off with New Kid. It was great. I loved it. 5 stars. Then I read King and the Dragonflies, and it was the best book of the week. This is like 10 out of 10, a million stars. I love this one a lot. Highly recommend this one of all of the ones that I read. Then it was Call Me By Your Name. I liked it enough. I would say, I think I give it 4 stars, maybe 3. Then I read I'll Give You the Sun. Didn't love it as much. This was definitely 3 stars, maybe even a little bit lower just because it wasn't for my tastes. The Hating Game. Had a hard time with this one. Did not like it. 2 stars. Nevermore. It was cute, but I wasn't super attached to it. I give it 3 stars. And then the Descendants book, The Isle of the Lost. I give this 3 stars. It was a good time, but way too long. It could have been half the length and it would have been great. So these are all my books. I am really excited that I was able to do this. All right. If you have read any of these, let me know what you thought about them. If you want to read any of these, let me know which ones. And I will see you later. Bye.